China is the biggest foreign owner of US Treasury bonds or US debt. In 2018, America was owed China about $1.2 trillion, meaning China has nearly one-fifth of US debt at 19% of the total value of the debt is in the hands of foreigners, which estimated at $6.3 trillion. Since 2010, China is not down to own $1 trillion debt to the United States, so why China should collect debt US all these years? Necessary to understand the nature of the economy Chinese, because this will tell us a lot. China is a large factory and it's export-based economy. The China strategy is to maintain the export-oriented economic growth, thus contributing to the creation of jobs and keep the huge population engaged in production. America is the largest importer from China. In 2017, she imported an amount of $506 billion worth of goods and exported to China at only $131 billion, which means that America has a deficit of $375 billion, which means that China sells more property and services than America sells China, at $375 billion. So, now Chinese companies went to America, have sold their goods, took the price in dollars and have returned to China. They need their yuan currency to pay the wages of their workers and run their factories, starts to sell their dollars and takes its place their currency yuan. What happens? The dollar becomes more available and the yuan down because there is a demand. Here the Chinese Central Bank, or People's Bank of China, as they call it, between and buys the surplus of dollar exporters and gives them the yuan they want. So the bank accumulated dollar reserves and buys with them the US debt. What would have happened if the Chinese Central Bank had, for example, forgotten and failed to raise the many dollars in the market? In the economy, there is a mechanism called self-correction mechanism between two currencies, that there is an international trade between them. If the Chinese Central Bank does not recover the surplus dollars in the market, the value of the dollar will go down because there are many, and the value of the yuan will increase as it is requested. And the meaning that the dollar depreciated it is that US exports will be cheaper and imports from China will be more expensive, and that America will become gradually more exporting and importing less in reason for the devaluation of the dollar against the yuan, and that at one point, the self-correction mechanism will work again and will reflect the subject. For this, the Chinese Central Bank puts an end to the effects of the self-correcting mechanism, so that the yuan does not correct itself and reach its real value. China's exports will be more expensive and will lose the competitive advantage available to them. Can China therefore not sell all the dollars it has once and let the dollar and the US economy collapse? The answer is no, she cannot do that, because it's just a stupid economic move. Because if a big economic power does not intervene, that he has the opportunity to buy the debt block, such as the European Union, for example, which is something difficult. Demand for the dollar will collapse and the global economy will enter a financial crisis, maybe the most violent in history, and it will be catastrophic for everyone. Second, China will fear the devaluation of the dollar and appreciation of the yuan and will not be able to sell cheap exports. Third, the relationship between the two economies are intertwined and complicated and, in the case of mutual dependence imposed on the parties, the US debt bought by China allows the United States to buy Chinese products at low prices, the situation being profitable for two countries and each benefiting from the other. Assuming that China has decided to sell all its US debt, it is simply possible for the United States to print the desired amount in dollars. Although this depreciates the dollar significantly and thus increases the rate of inflation in the United States, but this will avoid the financial crisis we discussed earlier, or at least it will mitigate its risk, and there is something else, that is the value of the repayment of the real debt will go down. I paid you $1,000 for example, but the real value is only $700, so it's bad for China, so that's why China fears rising inflation in the United States, as it would reduce the value of their dollars and should therefore continue to buy debt to ensure the competitiveness of the price of their exports internationally. In 2018, Bloomberg published a report saying that the Chinese government is looking to reduce the purchase of US Treasuries according to informed sources. This led to a disruption of the global market and the sale of US Treasury bonds, so much so that China's Foreign Exchange Management Agency intervened quickly and questioned the speech. His goal was to calm the world market so that the price of the dollar would not fall. Why is the rest of the world not playing the American debt game as China does? Because this strategy is accompanied by a serious problem. It is the high rate of inflation or the rise in prices in the country. China stands out from all other countries in that it tightly controls its economy and has the ability to manage inflation through secondary measures such as subsidies and price controls. As for the other countries, if it follows China's economic policy, they do not have a control mechanism as strong as that of China, and they will be left to the pressure of the free market and fall into the sea of rising prices. And China has a second advantage. Because it is a strong country, it is able to resist the political pressure of other importing countries, unlike other countries that do not support these pressures. The most obvious example at the moment is the standoff between China and America. The big trade deficit between China and America made Trump crazy. That's why China is under intense pressure, but it will stand firm. Any procedure or tariffs applied by America on Chinese products, China responds in the same way. In the 1980s, for example, the Japanese yen was a young and strong currency because of the strength of its economy. They decided to control it so that its exports would not be expensive. The United States just pressed a little bit. Japan surrendered and left the yen to its destiny. If you like this video, subscribe to my channel and click on bell icon to get our latest updates and notification. And don't forget to like, comment, and share. Thank you for your time and thanks for watching this video. Take care and peace out.